Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. These are all my old original games. There they are, boys. Now, you guys wanted me to rate these and rate what the best consoles were of all time. I will go ahead and I will do that. All right, first one, this is Sega Master System, isn't it? Yep, this is Sega Master System. You know what you guys know about this? Nothing, because it was trash. The Sega Master System had relatively no games on it, and compared to the Nintendo itself, there was almost no sales at all for the Sega Master System. It did not have hardly any interesting games on it, and this is the very point where Sega did not know what they wanted to do, and it had one. It's not... It had Sonic? Did it have Sonic? I don't know. I don't remember it having Sonic. Well, regardless, the Sega Master System sucked. The controls were garbage. I played it just a little bit once, and that was it. There's only, like, maybe one memorable game from this entire console, and at the end of the day, this is one of those consoles that kind of heralded the end of the age of just making a bunch of shitty consoles. I think the Sega Master System was an F. It was trash. Actually, I'm going to put it as a D because it led the way and it paved the way for the Sega Genesis. So we're going to let that one go. Yeah, we're going to say because it paved the way for the Sega Genesis, we're going to give it that. The Sega Saturn? Yeah, Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn was one of the only 32-bit systems that was added into the like the console market. Now, the Sega Saturn probably had one of the worst release, like the marketing theme and the marketing strategy for the Sega Saturn was probably one of the worst marketing strategies that's ever existed for a console in all time. The fact is that the Sega Saturn had a few interesting games, but in the world that it existed in, it was too expensive for people to buy at that time, and the Nintendo 64 came out so much sooner afterwards, and the Nintendo 64 had much better graphics because, again, Sega Saturn was only a 32-bit system, Nintendo 64 was a 64-bit system. So Sega Saturn, I actually think is worse than the Sega Master System because the Sega Saturn didn't really herald the beginning of anything. If anything, it heralded the end. This was the beginning of the end for Sega. Sega Saturn was a huge misstep, a massive mistake, a colossal cock, and a big fuck up. What is this? Mega Drive? I didn't do Mega Drive. Mega Drive is Sega Genesis? Wait, Mega Drive is Sega Genesis? I thought this one was Sega Genesis. Look at this, view background image. This is the, wait. Are they just called the same? Oh, wait, he just has two of the same thing? So, Sega Genesis. We're just going to put both of these together. We'll put both of these to the same thing, okay? To America versus different E-release. Okay, well, we're just going to combine them, all right? Because it's easier, and most people probably haven't played both anyway. So, we're just going to say the Sega Genesis. The Sega Genesis was an incredible console. It was. There were a number of great things about it. It had tons of controls on a controller. It had tons of incredible games. You're talking about all the Sonic series. You're talking about Earthworm Jim. You're talking about a number of the other games as well. Vector Man, I remember I played that one all the fucking time. Sega Genesis had incredibly well done graphics. I think the graphics from Sega Genesis were undeniably better than what Super Nintendo had. They were Aladdin, yeah, Shinobi, like, yeah, dude, fucking, yeah, there's plenty of other fucking games. Now, I've got my old Sega Genesis games in my back, in my old room, and back there, it's fucking amazing, right? I would say Sega Genesis was an incredible console, and it was the best console that Sega ever made. Sega Genesis, in my opinion, I don't think that it had the game offerings that the Super Nintendo did. Like, for example, right, Sega Genesis had like 8 amazing fucking games, but the Super Nintendo had like 20. So we're gonna have to put the Sega Genesis as the highest A that A can be. It is almost an S, but I feel like other things do deserve to be an S more than the Sega Genesis, okay? So the Sega Genesis is a solid fucking S, dude. Sorry, solid fucking A, dude. It is amazing, and I played it all the time. I have multiple Sega Genesis consoles because I broke them. Now, also, I'm seeing on this list here, we're not seeing a Sega CD. So if we combine Sega CD with Sega Genesis because they were supposed to be ported together, then you also have Sonic CD. Then you also have those higher end games. That was really, really fucking cool. So yeah, you had Sega CD as well. Like, and like, obviously there were only a few games that were really that good for it, but it was a little bonus, and I think that was cool. Now, the next one here. The Dreamcast. Here's the problem with the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast used technology that was too expensive. Nobody bought the Dreamcast because it was too expensive. I remember it was like $300 or $400. And back then, that was like $600 nowadays. It was way too much fucking money. You had the controllers that had the little thing on them. I have a Dreamcast, but I didn't buy one whenever it actually came out. I think Dreamcast had a few really, really, really good games on it. Dreamcast, in my opinion, was Sega's biggest mistake. I think Sega invested too heavily into the hardware on the Dreamcast, and they sold it at too high of a cost. If they had sold it at a cheaper cost, I do really think the Dreamcast could have competed very easily against any of the Nintendo consoles and no problem, right? And no problem, man. And so, like, yeah, that's what I would say. Sonic Adventure was so good. Sonic Adventure, didn't you have the fucking... you had Soul Calibur 1, I think, was on the Dreamcast. What were some of the other ones, too? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Phantasy Star Online, that was another really big one. Jet Set Radio, yeah, that was the other one. And Crazy Taxi, I think, was on other consoles as well. But overall, I do think Sega Genesis was a great game, but it was plagued by the problems of just being so expensive that you couldn't really afford it. Most people couldn't afford it. So we're going to put the Sega Genesis, or sorry, Sega Dreamcast, we're going to put it as like a C or a B. What do you guys think, C or a B? I'll say B. Yeah, it's like C, like it would be a D. Here's the way I look at it, right? It would be a D for like marketing strategy, and it would be an A for games. So what does that kind of balance out to? A B or a C. So I'd say overall, probably, like, I'm going to say a low B. We're going to say a low B for the Dreamcast. Next one. The Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 had Halo 3. The Xbox 360 also had the red halo of death. It was dysfunctional. If you held it standing up, sometimes the disc would fall out of the tray and then crash the console. Let's see, what else besides that? Those were probably the two worst things about the console. It had a very, very bad release. I think that many of the games for the Xbox were, I don't know, like, I mean, you had Gears of War. I mean, now that I think about it, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good games for the Xbox 360. I'm going to say that overall, it's going to be... Xbox Live, though. Xbox Live was in the original Xbox, bro. Like, there's no fucking... Yeah, I'm going to say it's an A, but it's behind the Genesis. It's definitely behind the Genesis. I think Genesis was way better for its time. Xbox 360 was pretty good, too, though. All right? That's pretty much it. Wrong? No, I think this is accurate. I think this is completely fucking accurate. Absolutely S tier? Yeah, I don't really think so. All right, well, let's go over. We're going to look at the Xbox, the PS2. Now, the PS2, this is an easy one. Everybody knows what it's going to be. It's an S. This is like probably, I mean, this console, like, this is an obvious fucking S. Everybody knows the PlayStation 2 is an S. It had some of the best games ever. It came out before, by the way, the Nintendo GameCube and the Xbox. So the PS2 predated them by like a year or two. And the game, it still came out. The graphics were fucking amazing. It could play DVDs. It was a It was a console. It was like basically having an iPhone in 2007. Like, you were literally ahead of the curve if you had a PlayStation 2 back in like 99 or 2000, whenever they came out. This was a massive fucking jump in technology, and this PlayStation 2 was relevant for longer than any console has been relevant since then and after then. And before then. It was the most relevant console. People still use PlayStation 2s to this day. Like, Zach's dad is still borrowing my PlayStation 2 so he can play in NBA fucking 2007. And he's been borrowing it ever since, I think, 2007. And you know what? I went over to their house and he's still fucking using it. So yes, the PlayStation 2 is by fucking far an S. By fucking far. Now the GameCube. GameCube is also a solid S. Now, the decision and the conversation is not really about if the GameCube is an S, right? Because everybody knows it's an S. Is it better than the PlayStation 2? I don't think so. I think that if you look at it, if you look at it, it's a low S, right? The GameCube had like the little tiny CDs. Like, the PS2 was simply a stronger console. It had more options and it could do more things. It had a wider variety of games. It could play DVDs. Like, these were all massive, crazy things that the PlayStation 2 could do and the GameCube could not. But one thing that I do think that I'm going to have to say that makes the GameCube still an S is the fact that many of the games that came out on GameCube are still being played today. People still play those games today. PS2? I don't think you can really say that as much. The GameCube games held up way better than the PS2 games. Like, I'm talking about fucking Wind Waker. I'm talking about Smash Brothers. Like, what are some of the other examples? Animal Crossing. Yeah, there's that too. Where's the rest of these? Mario. Yeah, of course, fucking Super Mario Sunshine. Mario Party came out with the Nintendo 64, so that's not really a good analogy. But overall, I think Mario Sunshine, Pikmin. Yeah, so many of these games. Metroid Prime. Like, GameCube was like basically, of all of the Nintendo IPs, GameCube brought out, for every single like strong Nintendo IP, they brought out one of their strongest titles for every single IP with the GameCube. Like, you're talking about Mario Sunshine was a great game. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker was a great game. I didn't like it. I didn't like the theme, but it was objectively a great game. Yeah, Paper Mario. I think that was Paper Mario. I don't know if that's Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64 or not. Yeah, fucking Star Fox 64 was the best one. That was in 64. Let's see, Star Fox Adventures was trash. Super Mario Melee. Yeah, the Sonic game. Ocarina of Time, that was Nintendo 64 as well. And Pikmin, yeah, exactly. Regardless, GameCube is a solid fucking S. It was some of the best fucking Nintendo games ever. The Nintendo Switch. So much of this is contextual. So the Nintendo Switch exists now in a day and age where computer literacy is much higher. And because computer literacy is so much higher, you have many other people that are able to just go and play a game on their PC. But one thing that Nintendo has done very well over the years is still create a value that their console adds by an innate feature that the console has. That is a definite thing that Nintendo has done a great job with ever since the Wii. And they could obviously see that gaming was diverging. And it no longer mattered the quality of the graphics. It no longer mattered or anything else like that. What people cared about at that point, right, in about 2010, somewhere around there, they started caring about the quality of the game, the enjoyment of the game. And Nintendo has done a great job with making that their priority. I think that the Nintendo Switch is a B. It is a B console. It has a number of great titles. It's an A? I think it's better than the Dreamcast. It's so hard to compare those because like one came out 20 years ago. You guys think that it's an A? I'll put it up as an A. Yeah, sure. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I will put, actually, you know, yeah, because it's portable. Yeah, it's an A. Yeah, I'll put it up as an A because it's portable. Yeah, that's definitely probably a unique thing about it. Yeah, we'll give that an A because it is portable. 100%. Why not? The Wii U. There is one good thing to come out of the Wii U. Mario Maker. That's it. That's it. Mario Maker was the only good thing. And yeah, Smash 4 machine. Exactly. Yeah, you bought this game to play Mario Maker and Smash 4. I would give the Wii U a D. I think that the marketing for the Wii U was absolutely terrible. The console sales for the Wii U were the worst console sales for any Nintendo console in all of the history of Nintendo consoles. It was marketed incredibly badly. And I would say that, yeah, it's a D. Next one. This is my personal favorite, okay? This is the console that I grew up with. Where's my old Nintendo? I've got my old Nintendo right over there. That's my old original Super Nintendo that I've played on ever since I was a kid. This is obviously an S. I think the Super Nintendo brought forward so many incredible, great games that I can't even count them all. There were so many amazing games that came out with this console that I think that even now, I remember Eric and I went to go for the early morning release of the SNES Mini. And there were like fucking 50 other balding 28-year-old men sitting there in the fucking rain with their wives in the car, pissed the fuck off because he brought her there and she doesn't give a shit about it, and he was all sitting there. It's nostalgia. Is it nostalgia? I don't think that it's nostalgia at all. I really think that the Super Nintendo deserves to have a very, very high placing here. It is an incredible console. The value that it brought was second to none. I think that it absolutely deserves to be an S. I think that it was observably and easily better. You guys want to see something? Take a look at this. Let's go. Let's look at some of the fucking games. Give me a minute. Where's my fucking games? Here's one right here. This is my original fucking Super Mario World. Right there. There's my fucking game. Also, we got more. But wait, there's more. These are my games. I got them right here, boys. I'll show you what we got. Here we go. Goof Troop. This game sucked, but I loved it. It doesn't matter. Alright, this is a really good one. Super Mario RPG. I played through this game like 3 or 4 times. I really think this is one of the greatest games of all time for Mario. I fucking love this game. Also, they brought this game out as well. Super Mario All-Stars. It brought in Super Mario The Lost Levels. It took me 8 years to beat that game because I was too young to do it whenever I was a kid. I have this one as well. I love this fucking game. Also, Secret of Mana. I still have my old cartridge. Secret of motherfucking Mana. This is actually a really rare game now. And so I've got this one right here, Chrono Trigger. I don't have Chrono Trigger. These are my games, man. I grew up with this motherfucker, dude. I love playing this fucking game, man. Quite expensive? Yeah. So I've got that one. But wait, it gets better. Fucking Star Fox. You're goddamn right I had it. I played through the shit. Man, I beat Andross's dick off. Yeah, I fucking love this game. I was so into this. It was one of my favorite games fucking ever. I was a huge fan of this one. And these are just the games that I have right here. Like, I have more upstairs, or downstairs, I mean. Castlevania. I love this game as well. Do you know what my favorite thing about this game was? Having this terrible jump mechanic. He goes like, Simon goes, oh, oh, oh. Oh, it was so bad. The game jump mechanics were fucking terrible, but I loved it. I remember there's this one part of the game where you were like running in like this spinning fucking circular like room. It was like the Return to Karazhan room. Oh, it was fucking badass, dude. And like I remember whenever I would get there, I knew that I was about to die because I was really bad at the game. And yeah, I love this game. And then I have a lot more downstairs, as I said, like Yoshi's Island, everything's downstairs. Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. These are all my old original games. This cartridge does not save games all the time. My game, about every 3 weeks or so, would get reset. I actually learned how to speed run Legend of Zelda, the first 3 fucking temples, and get into the Dark World in like an hour at age 7. Because I just got so used to having to redo everything because the game kept dying on me. There they are, boys. Because of that, I think I'm gonna have to rate the Super Nintendo this is my #1 console of all time. I think that for a lot of people, PlayStation 2 would be above it. But for me personally, Super Nintendo is my #1 console. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about the other ones after that, okay? So we have PlayStation 1. Now, in my opinion, I think PlayStation 1... So PlayStation 1 had Final Fantasy VII. It had a number of like really good games. And I would say that PlayStation 1 was probably for its time better than the Sega Genesis, but I cannot see a universe where PlayStation 1 was more meaningful than the GameCube. I think PlayStation 1 is like a tier 1A, but it doesn't go above that. I think that would be what I think is fair. It's a tier 1A. This is a great console for me personally, and like obviously, like you guys have to understand, like I'm a Nintendo fanboy. Like, let's be honest. Like, everybody knows this. Like, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. Like, I love Nintendo. That's my main thing, right? And so you have to understand, like, the fact that I'm rating any of these PlayStation consoles anywhere near this is very, very good, okay? So this is important to remember. But yes, PlayStation 1. Also, it had all the Mega Man games. Oh, yeah. Actually, PlayStation 1 did have a lot of really good games. Fuck. I'm just thinking. Spyro. It had Spyro 2, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it did. I'll say it's still an A. It could be an S, but I'd say it's still an A. The original Xbox, or better known as the Halo machine. Now, the Xbox itself, the console had a number of interesting features. You could store music on the console. It could play music. It was the first console to really have a strong, like, do we want to count Xbox Live? Do we want to factor Xbox Live into this? Because if we factor Xbox Live into this, I think that it automatically hits an S. Like, if we factor Xbox Live into this, it automatically hits an S. Because I don't think you guys understand how fucking monumentally fucking massive having online gameplay was. It was incredible. Like, it's you guys, like the Zoomers, you guys don't understand this, but this was like you know, like the Aladdin song where it's like a whole new world? Well, it was like that, okay? But it was a console. I'm gonna put this motherfucker at an S if we want to count Xbox Live. If not, it's gonna go to a low A. So this is with Xbox Live, this is without. Yeah, Dreamcast did it first. Yeah, there were games that had online before Xbox Live, but it just can't compare. Like Xbox Live was the advent of modern gaming, modern online gaming. Xbox Live, like that's why I always say like Halo, it's like what I always say about Halo 2 and Halo 3. Halo 3 is objectively a better game than Halo 2, but Halo 2 for its time was a better game than Halo 3 was. Because Halo 2, even though the gameplay was not that amazing, on top of that, it brought in online play. It was so much fucking bigger than you could ever imagine. Now let's go ahead, we're gonna look at the next one here. Is this the Xbox One? Anyway, the Xbox One was not only a cock in the ass to the players for the games that it had, it was also a cock in the ass to the entire gaming industry. It took Sony making the PlayStation 4. So you guys don't remember this, but they were originally going to make the Xbox One force you into being always online, force you into having a Kinect attached to it, force you into not being able to resell your games. That was bullshit. The Xbox One, for that reason, it doesn't matter what happens, is getting rated at a fucking F. That is a fucking F right there. It doesn't matter anything else. And you know what? It took Sony with the PS fucking 4 to whip their fucking nasty, gangly, disgusting asses into shape and tell them, listen, that's not how we do it. And think about it like this. Sony saved our fucking ass, because Sony could have said, you know what? Xbox is doing this, we're gonna do it too, and now this is the industry standard. And Sony stood up for something. Sony stood up for consumer rights. Sony stood up for the consumer experience, and they made sure that their PlayStation 4 didn't have those features. They blew Xbox the fuck out of the water, and Xbox had to come back to the table because they couldn't fucking compete. Thank you, Sony. We'll get to that. The original Nintendo. The original Nintendo. So you've got Mario 1, 2, and 3. You've got Duck Hunt. You've got all the other, the usual things, right? Super fucking Legend of Zelda. I think Legend of Zelda 2 was in there too. This was an incredible console. This heralded... So like, there are basically, in my opinion, there are two eras of consoles. Or three eras, really. There was the era before the Nintendo. That was like the Atari, the Odyssey, I think TurboGrafx happened after this. And like all of these kind of like the IBM machines, and there are basically these were the dark ages. Yeah, the Famicom. 16-bit, all the other ones, right? And I have some of them. These were the dark ages. And Nintendo came in with this console, and they brought the light. And fuck, was it glorious. They said, let there be light. And there was. It was beautiful. This was the beginning of the new age of consoles right here. The Nintendo NES was the beginning of the traditional modern day console. I think the second age or third age would probably happen with the Wii. Right, the Wii was whenever the divergence really happened and consoles actually started to try to create value innately rather than just being video game machines. So, but basically this was much more important. This was much more fucking important. I'm gonna rate the Nintendo. I'm thinking right now. So I think that Xbox So, okay. So the impact that Xbox had on gaming was equivalent to the impact that Nintendo had on gaming, I would say. But I think Nintendo had more games that were good. So we're going to put the Nintendo ahead of it. Yeah, we're going to put the Nintendo ahead of that. Yeah, I think that a number of better games. Like, the Xbox really didn't have that many good games. Like, I don't think it did. Like, I know some people might believe it did. I don't. I don't think it had that many great games. It had a good amount, and that was about it. Let's go ahead and move on. The Wii. I have a Wii. The console. The Wii was the first level of innovation. Like, you had, like, the iCam and things like that from the PlayStation 2. Like, you had that kind of stuff. But the Wii was the first level of real, like, integration and innovation from consoles ever since the Nintendo, in my opinion. I really feel like, yeah, motion controls, like, people really undersell how innovative the Wii really was at the time. The Wii was the first console that appealed to boomers. My dad wanted a Wii. I don't even think my dad knows what a Nintendo 64 is. Like, if I put a Nintendo 64, a Super Nintendo, and an NES right in front of him, I bet you couldn't even tell you which one was which. He could probably tell you GameCube's the GameCube because it's more like a cube, right? But other than that, I don't think you would have known. This console was the most innovation that we had for multiple generations of consoles. And I think that that innovation does earn it a high slot. I think that it was more innovative than the Switch. It was more innovative than the Nintendo 64. Or sorry, the Xbox 360, excuse me. Xbox 360. Used the Wii as a GameCube. That's also a really good point. Yeah, Wii had full backwards compatibility. I honestly might even put it above Sega Genesis. Like, I really think this is a fair rating. I really do. Like, this was incredibly innovative. This console right here is why we still have consoles nowadays. It's a big reason. Before this, people didn't really, like, at this point, like, there were a lot of people who just stopped really using. Like, they stopped really caring about consoles because they were just playing games on PC. The Wii was the first time that a console in itself added value to the game. Think about that. It was the first time the console in itself added value. When did that happen before this? Think about that. When was it better to play on a console than a computer? You can maybe say the PS2 with, like, the DDR pad and things like that and the iToy, etc. You can maybe say that. And also, let's go back to it, and PlayStation 2 is one of the best consoles of all time. And the DVD player for the PS2. Yeah, you're right. This right here completely changed it for Nintendo. I'm going to give it this rating. I think this is a fair rating. The Nintendo 64. The old Nintendo 64. It did have four players, but the Super Nintendo had this already. So you guys saw Secret of Mana already. Now, Secret of Mana, you were able to plug in a 5-play and play with 3 people in Secret of Mana. So it actually wasn't the first time that Nintendo had done multiple players beyond 2, but it was the first time that it was directly compatible with the the system on, like, a base level. Now, let's talk about the Nintendo 64 games. All right. So you're talking about Super Mario 64, one of the best Mario games of all time. People are speedrunning it to this day. You're talking about Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, GoldenEye, Super Smash Brothers, Pokemon Stadium, Mario Kart, Mario fucking Party. Like, I remember, man, like, whenever I got Mario Party 3, the kids from across the street, Cameron and his sisters, came over, and it was fucking 9 p.m., and it was a school night, and their parents let us play Mario 3 until 11 p.m. We played it downstairs in the living room, and it was fucking awesome. So you know what? We've got that. Okay, those were the good fucking times. Perfect Dark. You have, what are the other ones here? Diddy Kong Racing, never played that. Oh, dude, Star Fox 64! That was the shit! Bro, that was the shit! Like, oh my god! The worst thing about the Nintendo 64 was the fucking controller. I think the controller was a cock. Like, it was a cock. But it really, like, where is it? I think I still have it. Yeah, like, what the fuck is this? I still have it right here from whenever I put it on my head. Look at this. Like, what do you do? Like, I held it like this, okay? Some people did it like this. I didn't like doing it like that. I was young, so, like, my hands weren't really that big. Like, I use it like this. It was just, like, a weird fucking thing, man. And I don't know, man. That was certainly a problem. It also had the rumble packs, too. This is another thing. I forgot all about this, and I'm seeing it here. It had the rumble packs, which back then, like, you didn't have rumble packs for controllers. Like, that didn't happen. So, like, it did happen with that, and it was really fucking bad. So, yeah, first analog stick? I mean, like, if you don't want to count, like, Atari, yeah, sure. It was the first analog stick. Yeah, first joystick, yeah. Overall, like, the Nintendo 64 was fucking awesome. It really was. There were a lot of games, though. I feel like the Nintendo 64, a lot of Nintendo 64 games did not age as well. I think that, unironically, there were more Super Nintendo games that aged much better than Nintendo 64 games. I think that I think it's maybe right there. What do you guys think about right there? What do you guys think about this? I feel like maybe an S. Maybe it'd be right here. Everything's an A and an S. Yeah, I could move some of these down, right? I could move this down to here. I could move these down to here, maybe. Yeah, I think that would be fine, right? I mean, it doesn't really, like, it's just a matter of categorization. Anyway, that's my rating for the Xbox, the Nintendo 64. That's pretty much where I don't know, like, maybe better than the Xbox One. I just can't see it being more innovative than Xbox Live. I can't see it. Like, of all these consoles, I really feel like each one did something incredible with gaming besides probably the GameCube. Like, I would say maybe, I think the GameCube, I like the GameCube more than a Nintendo 64, though. I personally did. I feel like if anything should be rated down, it should probably be the GameCube. But for me, it's like I grew up playing the GameCube, so it's so hard for me to rate it down. So let's go ahead. We're going to stick with this. All right, next one. The PlayStation 3. I think the PlayStation 3, for me, was a hard pass. The PlayStation 3 had a very limited offering of interesting games. It was released at the same time around the Xbox 360. It was more expensive, and it just really wasn't as great. Like, and I've never been like a big PlayStation fanboy, but to me, I just wasn't really super excited about it. Like, I never felt the impulse to buy a PlayStation 3. The only reason why I want to buy a PlayStation 3 is so I can play Demon's Souls. That's it. I don't care about anything else besides that, besides playing Demon's Souls. Everything else is just a bunch of bullshit. I don't care about any other game besides that one thing. And people say The Last of Us. I'm not a big fan of that. I just feel like the PlayStation 3, of the 4 PlayStation consoles, I feel like the PlayStation 3 is by far the weakest of the 3. It is by far the weakest of the 3. And I'm going to say that a PlayStation 3, I thought it sucked. I really did. I thought the PlayStation 3 sucked, and I thought that it was probably like, it's about right here. PlayStation 3, it was, in my opinion, a huge miss for PlayStation. It was a huge fucking miss. Sorry. There it is. It's maybe even better than the Dreamcast. It's hard for me to say because it was just, there's so much time between those two things. It's really difficult for me to be able to compare them. Now, yes, you're right. PlayStation 3 was online. But was it really online? Remember that? How many months was it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys forgot about that, huh? You guys forgot about that, huh? 3 months that shit was offline. No. You get what you pay for. Xbox Live was fucking flawless. Dude, I was the biggest fucking Xbox fanboy. I remember, dude, I had the same disappointment in my eyes whenever I saw them pull that shit with the Xbox One that I had whenever Arthas turned Uther away and went to kill everybody in Strathlum. Like, I was so fucking upset, man. I was like, no! You can't do this to me! I'm emotionally invested in you. You can't... You are the chosen one! I can't watch you do this. Yeah, I couldn't. I don't... That is the only Xbox system that I don't have. I have a 360. I have the original Xbox. I was a huge fan of Xbox. And then this happened. The online for PS3 was free, Asmon. Okay, you didn't know what I was talking about. There was like a 3 or 4 month period where the PlayStation 3 online was just dysfunctional and unplayable. And then also there were problems with it as well, even after that. And so it was a long fucking time. Was it 3 weeks? I think it was more than 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure it was more than 3 weeks. Regardless, though, I think it was completely overpriced. I think that the game offering was mediocre. I think that the online, while it was free and that's cool, it wasn't really good enough. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of cancel those things out. Now the last one, the PlayStation 4. This is a great console. The PlayStation 4 is the dominant console today. Now, there are a lot of people who prefer the Switch, and I understand that. I get that. It makes sense. For me, I have the Switch and I have the PS4. Basically, I think the PS4 was an incredible fucking console. And also on top of that, the PS4, as I said earlier, the PS4 brought in, they defended the integrity of console gaming as we know it. If PS4 didn't do what they did against Xbox, we would be living, it wouldn't be PS4, it would be PS 1984. For that reason, I am gonna, you guys like that? I thought that up in my head right as I was saying it. For that reason, I'm going to put PS4 right here. It is an A console. This is an absolute A console. It has Bloodborne. It has God of War. It has a number. PS4 exclusives are the best exclusives on the market. If you are going to buy a console for its exclusives, and you're not playing it for party games for your kids and everything like that, right? PS4 exclusives are the fucking gold standard. It's just how... What's this here? How is the Wii better than the PS4? Easily. The Wii was so much more innovative than the PS4. It was a completely different universe, right? Like, honestly, I would almost categorize these as two different things. The Wii was way more innovative than the PS4. Like, the PS4 was just a really good PS3. The Wii was a completely different way to think about playing video games. This list right here is the truth. This is the Bible. This is the guaranteed, unabashed, accurate, completely unbiased, minus maybe Super Nintendo, but it is what it is. This is the list. Move 360 up and Xbox down 1. 360 up and Xbox One down? No, no way. Like, the console had so many fucking, like, hardware problems. I'm not gonna rate that as a fucking A. Give me a break. No, like, you know what my 360 is? It's behind my door. Like, I threw that motherfucker down the stairs. And you know what? Probably by the end of the stairs, it worked better. It was a piece of shit. Like, whenever you had it standing upright, like they had in a fucking commercial, the disc for my Halo 3 or Halo 2 came down. It was like... That's the console would just die. Do not fucking give me any bullshit about how the 360 should be a fucking A. There is no console in this entire list that had more hardware trouble than the 360. How is the Switch under the 360? The Switch is under the 360. Ooh, that is a good question. Why is the Switch under a 360? Switch really an A? Because, like, the Wii U was also portable. So, like, the Switch's idea of being portable was not new. I will do this. I will do this. That's all I want to do. So, like, in my mind, there's like a couple of different categories, right? There's like the game offerings, the innovation of the console itself, the controller overlay, the other types of things that the console allowed you to do, like play DVDs for PS2, for example, and then also like the hardware capabilities for itself, right? So all of these different categories, I'm like ranking against each other. Where would the PSP be? I don't know. Probably as a fucking B. Like, the PSP wasn't really that great. I broke my PSP in chemistry class, and so, Philips CDI. Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of the other, like, so I want to go back, right? Give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and open this up again. Yeah, I mean, like, you do have, like, other things, right? Like, this is the Lynx. This came out in, like, the fucking, like, early 90s, I believe. This Game Gear? Is this Game? Yeah, Game Gear. Like, I have a Game Gear. Like, Game Gear is really great. So, the Game Gear is probably one of the strongest arguments that I have for global warming. So, every single level that you play in Sonic, the way that you have to celebrate by beating the level is by buying a new pack of batteries. Yeah, that's basically how it would work. But the Game Gear, it did have a backlit screen, which was really, really cool. And that's basically battery drains. It was so bad. It was so fucking bad. Yeah, I have one of these. Let's see. Game Boy Advance. I thought Game Boy Advance really wasn't that great. Like, I don't know. Like, the Game Boy, I have the original Game Boy. I have the one that's see-through, though. Let's see. Nintendo DS. I thought that was really cool because like, Nintendo DS had a touchscreen and it also had 2 screens. Nintendo DS, I think, was probably like one of the coolest looking ones. This one right here, was this the NVIDIA? Yeah, it was the Nokia one. Nokia N-Gage. I think this came out in like, what, 2003 or something like that? Maybe a little bit before then. This was pretty much like, nobody used this. This is like Nokia trying to make a phone into a console. Let's see, are there any more of these other ones here that are worth anything? Yeah, this is like way, way old school. Like, this is like before this is in the dark ages. What's this one here? I don't even know what that is. Is that, I guess, the Nintendo Switch? Yeah, I guess it must be. Oh, dude! This is the old fucking Atari! Holy shit! My mom used to have this one. Look at that! Yeah, that's the old fucking Atari. Yeah, was that the 5200? Sorry, 2600? Damn. Okay, let's see. What about this one here? Oh, dude. I don't even remember this one at all. Yeah, some of these consoles, like, you guys forget, but, like, a lot of these consoles, like stuff like this, right? Like, these were fucking, like, these were the old days, man. These were the fucking old days. Like, it doesn't look that cool, and it wasn't that cool, okay? Like, these were the fucking old Odyssey consoles and shit like that. Yeah, Commodore 64. Like, this shit was fucking... This was the... Like, you plugged this in to a fucking rock. And you powered it by getting on a fucking bicycle and, like, paddling water. Okay, and you had to feed it like grass in order for it to work. Like, this was some straight up Stone Age shit. Like, I didn't even have these. I didn't have these. I bought one like way later on. I think I have this one. No, I don't have that one. I have one of these. I have a fucking Odyssey. I don't know where it is here. It's somewhere. Anyway, let me see here. Did I miss any more of these? Oh, this one here. Oh yeah, the Nomad. This came out after the Game Gear, and it just never really caught on. Like, nobody cared about this one at all. Let's see. Oh, I have... this is the one that I have. I think it's one of the ones that I have. Yeah, these are super, super fucking old. Far too expensive. Yeah, it was so long ago, it's hard for me to really remember. Let's see. What about this one here? That is this Neo Geo? Oh my god. Yeah. All of these people, they were all trying to, like... see, this is what mine looks like. See, I had this one right here. I have two of them. I have this one, and then I also have the Sega CD that's on the side. But this was my original one. And you would hit that button, and the Sega CD would come out. This was fucking lit. It was big, too. It felt good whenever you picked it up. It was like, yeah. It was so fucking amazing. Okay, are there any more of these that are really worth looking at? I'm pretty sure this is all a bunch of, like, old, failed fucking portables. And then you have this one here. See, this is actually, they have one of these in Guantanamo Bay. And they use it to torture prisoners. And they give them visual migraines. It only takes 5 minutes.